A scéalach gin an duine a bheit furoch sa goput that slí na Gaeltoch in hier chusin rys an yeran hain. Chain a scéalach gin a chai einse an tosioch an tac an sinne vo ginneloch go ginneloch agus go tríc nu't a chai an scríbh sias mi yerig hawl va kiet an jevlianachin idir gol sheket. Ach ha slí na Gaeltoch in hier an te vel nuigud sa 6 míle it fatten is mo an a shirt scéalachin a jor an jorichin echtri. Han na scéalachin rin fein ans na duine, agus ans na háitechin id an slia. Agus ha mi a táisiachig in an roundsachig acam ag in your snahich.
So Kelly, this is part of the 18th century garrison, and what remains of it? What do you know about it?
It was built in 1718 by the Duke of Montrose to suppress Rob Roy MacGregor and his clan, and built in the centre of Inversnaid to ensure that they would stop what they were doing. And it was just to annoy him, really. It finished construction in 1719. Rob Roy was so incensed by this that his men abducted the stonemasons that were trying to build the thing and put them on Factor Island on Loch Lomond at Stronachlacha and held them for ransom. And then the Duke of Montrose paid for them to come back, and they carried on building it, but then he tried to burn it down in 1719 as well. Failed. And then Battle of Culloden time, he burnt it down again and succeeded on that occasion, unfortunately. They did rebuild it, initially to build it bigger, but they stuck with the original Italian style plan and kept it as it is. So there's some of it left, and there's some of it over here left, and then it was been changed and manipulated to suit what people's needed since.
Is it protected under Historic Scotland, or is it just a...
Yes, it's protected under Historic Scotland as a scheduled monument, okay. So yeah, we keep it as we can without any more of it falling down.
Just north of here in Inversnaid on the West Highland Way is Rob Roy's Cave, where the famed Highland outlaw is reported to have taken shelter from his pursuers. A bounty of £1,000 had been placed on his head, and allegedly he hid by the water's edge, the perfect hiding place. There's also a tradition that Robert the Bruce came there to lay low after the Battle of Dalfrey in 1306. According to historians, Rob Roy spent his early years in Glengyle, his later life in Balwhidder. But here in Inversnaid, with its forests, its crags and its tranquility, was home.
Se Robert Bruce duine animalile is slí na Gaeltoch in hier. Fer an jeach mar an scéalachcin is scríbh go hechtrial leis na Gael. Va an Bruceach na gúine úsal. Va a Gaelic éige, agus va dlú leis na Gael cúteach. One such story is about the Brooch of Lorne, a medieval piece of jewellery supposedly taken from Robert the Bruce in battle in 1306 near here at Dalry. His early reign as king had been marked by life as a fugitive, escaping the English and allies of rival Scottish barons. In 1306, he'd been ambushed by the MacDougals, forced to retreat, and as his enemies attempted to grab hold of him, he lost his cloak and the Brooch of Lorne. Years later though, he got his revenge on the MacDougals after the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314. He confiscated their lands and gave them to his allies. Duncan Ban MacIntyre, the 18th century Gaelic poet, is a name synonymous with this area. Duncan, or Donogh, was a reluctant soldier, a forester, later a gamekeeper, but it was his songs and poems about this area that brought him fame and honour. Geburing do Donogh lévig no scríbig, ach vai commasach I the vardoch arish, or va keine ikke na dain ikke heen. Gu forstenach chai in scríbig sias mi yerig hal, agus be mollig bain dorang in ober bevoe, chai scríbig lish. Scríbtje men skire shaw, Chimichael na binne. Chlech Donogh moran de Janeminaatje na skira na vardoch. Va kutje na scríbig reine in Jaiunje, koi gluasit en tloi as an duich, agus fallavoch na glaun. As well as the historical people dotted along the 96 miles, there's monuments and landmarks too, and Clachnan Caimbeloch, or the Campbell Stone, is one of them. Ronald Cameron has spent his whole life in Kinloch Leven on the West Highland Way, and he knows the story well. Agus, Kwasa Hanaki?
Hai a hokla an shiki jig daich at Secoic, as Jeblar in your lochi, ik aum hockey shivota. Van de Keimbilge sappers tuv na Parliament, agus tuv Ela, van de Donnellich, agus Kinin Ela, maar na Cameronich, a sappers na Chiet ri Cherlach. Va een bard animal Ian Laum en Lahar, agus hust Ian. Jerik mi moch Martin Donich, gu brai keistel in your lochi, hunnik mi an tarum a dol an ordu, agus va buai a vlair le clandon. Hich na Camblich, hust Ian gun de hou moren nu na bonnetjen ach gado tarsin na haine, avin neves. Then the Donnellich, a spatig na dunja bochga nach buren rui lua galore, ach mierak hou skuret de marvag, faskeer lun de vra, faran de hoket a charn. Anten blienach an as Jason, bavish do Donnellich, klacha kurir en karn, zijn do shachet, agus verig keimbelich klach as, a chai as down, gus an landju.
Agus kieten de vlienchen in Jason. De villen larich gleiche haast kutumach.
She skelig ma haun, pastjen echtri akin. Agus, haneo na keimbelich agus na Donnellich en nuchu rekela haast, agus hasje na torst mishnach goen, dochas goen, nach maar fuse naiges cho sheriff rishin gushiri bra. Hamian dochas.
So having spoken to Ronald in Kinloch Leven, I'm now in Glen Nevis, a few miles away from the finish of the West Highland Way at the foot of Britain's biggest mountain. And what he's said about Gaelic and its connections across the history and the timeline of the West Highland Way has really interested me. And there's a Gaelic quotation about this place and about its people. Glaun niver, glaun and clach, glaun and being garst animoch, glaun fata fiai, fas, slua bratoch ivi gnash. And what I've learned from speaking to the likes of Ronald and others on my journey is that Gaelic, of course, is dotted throughout the history of the West Highland Way, and its people and its stories are right at the heart of it.